Ladies and gents, we need to talk, as Forest really do need a striker right now. And we're going to show you who they can go after. Welcome to your Forest news. Good morning, good evening, or good night. Hope you guys are doing well, and welcome to your latest Nottingham Forest video, where today is going to be about the biggest thing I've been getting in the comments for the last, I'd say, 2 to 3 weeks, and that's about strikers. Now, we're going to talk to you about any links, hint, hint, not money. We'll talk to you about who's available on the market. We're going to break this up into 3 categories: realistic, a little bit of a stretch, and then the bank breaker as well. So if you're enjoying the content, please don't forget to hit the like button. Subscribe to Forest Fan TV, as we are now less than 50 away from the big 20k. Can you guys get it done for us? That's up to you. Subscribe button's down there. It's completely free. And let me know down in the comments, who is your ideal realistic dream signing for a striker? I think whatever part of the Forest fan base you are in any segment of it, I think pretty much 95% of the fan base would agree that right now the biggest place Forest need to strengthen in is a striker. Currently, we've got Chris Wood on the books, we've got Taiwo on the books, we've got Hwang on the books. Let's not go there. And for me, they are both too injury prone right now to be dependable enough to see us through a campaign. I am struggling to remember a game where both Taiwo and Chris Wood were fit at the same time, and Nuno or Cooper at the start of the season had to make a choice between the two. So for me, we need to upgrade. And I'm not talking about bringing a third choice striker in. That's why I was so against Che Adams coming, because he would slot below both of them for me. We need to upgrade past them, and that's important. We're into our 3rd season now in the Premier League, and we've got to start acting like a team that wants to progress, and we need that marksman up front. So what we're going to do today, with the help of SofaScore, if you haven't downloaded the app, it's completely free to download. Scan the QR code or click on the link that's pinned in the comments, and then you can look through the stats as well. We'll show you some headline stats of the players that I think should be coming to Forest. Now, as I said at the start, there have been minimal links with strikers with Forest. The closest one we've had was Maximilian Beer, the youngster from Germany, who I will touch on in a second. Outside of that, we've seen some freebies being linked, like Che Adams that I just spoke about. We've seen Iheanacho being linked to Forest. But we've seen Antonio as well, the ex-Forest boy, of course, currently at West Ham. But all of these strikers that have been linked have been freebies that, in my opinion, short of Beer, would be backups to Chris Wood and Taiwo as well. So let's talk about realistic prospects that Forest can get on players that are currently available on the market and that we can make a move on. So let's jump into the first one. Okay, let's start with a player that, if you've played Football Manager, you'll know all about him, and that's Youssoufa Moukoko, who I absolutely love. He is exactly the right profile that Forest have been recruiting over the last, well, this window in particular. Now, what can I tell you about him? He is really skillful. He's an attacking striker who likes to pick the ball up, dribble with it, and he likes to shoot. Very strong on his left foot. He's okay on his right foot, but he's cocky and confident in front of goal. He's not one of those ones who panics when he shoots. If the opportunity isn't opened for him, he won't just hit it straight at a defender, which just infuriates me. He will create, with a little skill move, try and create an opening and then calmly slot it into the back of the net. He's got the ability to score from range. Thunderbolts go flying in with him, but in the box, I think he's quite clinical, and he's only 19 years old. Now, why the hell are Dortmund letting him go is the question you guys are probably all asking. Well, because there was not really a great relationship between him and the previous Dortmund manager, and he found himself down the pecking order basically because he was young and coming through. And then you had a couple of other players in there. You had Fulkrug, who's gone to West Ham now, and also Haller. And he found himself third place to them. Now, with both those players going, it was expected that Moukoko would get his opportunity this year because he's automatically been risen up the pecking order. However, his agent has pushed for a move and he wants him out of Dortmund, and Moukoko is up for that move as well. Now, this is where it gets interesting because Marseille are about to take him. So if Forest were interested, Forest, if you're watching, man, pick up that phone and start calling Dortmund. Forest need to act fast because not only is he quite cheap, he's valued at around £20 million. They are prepared to let him go on loan with an option to buy. And that's the deal Marseille are putting together for him. Now, it's not too late because the likes of Lille are trying to hijack this deal. Now, Marseille do not have European football to offer him or anything like that. I think they finished 8th in the French league last season. The call of the Premier League would interest him. And the most important thing for me is his valuation. At 20 million, it's peanuts, especially with someone who's got good experience at Dortmund. Anyone coming through that Dortmund academy and the ranks there has been brought up the right way. They really do have top-notch A-grade kind of academy and development of young players. So I trust them on that front anyway. But his valuation, I would expect it to double or triple over the next couple of years as he himself still develops into his body, as he gets used to, you know, if he were to come to the Premier League, the pace of the Premier League, which would suit him 100%. So for me, this guy is high on my agenda list and on my shopping list, and I would love to see him come in. Now, if you have a look at some of his stats, you can see on his heat map, he plays very centrally. His best stats are attacking. I'll gloss over some of these. I don't want this video to be too long. But if you want to go in depth on his stats, go download SofaScore and you can check them all out. Now, this is his season last year. He played 26 games, started 11 of them, still producing 7 goals from 11 starts plus sub appearances. And everything about what he does is really good. You know, goals from inside the box, 5. He scored from there from 24 attempts, 2 outside the box from 11. He scored 1 with his head, 4 with his left foot. Predominantly, as I said, he's left-footed, and 2 with his right foot as well. And he's the kind of player I want to see. His XG 6.43, which is quite good, and he's expected to score like once every 1.6 games, roughly speaking. Now, he will develop and he will get better. This one is a project one for Forest, and I think under Nuno, we could see good things out of him. Would you guys go for him or not? At 20 million, potentially no cost this year as a loan with an option to buy, I think it's worth a shout. What do you guys think? All right, let's talk about my second choice, and this is Maximilian Beer, who I think is a really good striker. My only concern about him is he likes to drift out a lot on the left-hand side. Now, you can see that as a positive because he can play and predominantly would play as a striker, but can also play on the left side and the right side, but he definitely favors the left side. You can see that from his heat map, but if you've watched him play for Hoffenheim, you'll see that a lot of the time he drifts out wide. Whereas I still feel we need a striker who's going to be straight down the middle. But putting that to one side, he is a goal-scoring machine. He played, let's have a look here, 33 times last season for Hoffenheim. He scored 16 goals from 29 starts. And in terms of his goal-scoring frequency, it's every 152 minutes. So it's slightly better than Moukoko's stats there. What he offers for me is composure in front of goal. He is, again, he's right-footed opposite to Moukoko there. But his left foot, I think, is okay. Now, they're saying here his strengths are his long shots, which I would agree with. They're saying he's not that great aerially. Again, I would agree with that. However, we don't tend to cross too many balls into the box. Even with Chris Wood in there, who's quite tall, yet he can't really jump, we tend to be very low crossing when we do cross. So I don't think it would impact on him. In fact, I think Forest's style of play would actually suit him. Pace-wise, he's decent as well, and he's only 21. Now, the problem for him, or for us, should I say, is his valuation is in and around £30 million. he has been linked to Forest this window. It was about 5 weeks ago. It's gone very, very quiet. But there are a lot of clubs sniffing out for him because he can score a goal, and that in itself is priceless. So 30 million at least would be what it takes to get this one done. At 21 years old, still has plenty of time to develop as well. He's nowhere near his prime, and he's scoring that many goals. And you would argue that Dortmund should be a better team than Hoffenheim, for example, if you compare him to Moukoko. And therefore, he's doing it at a lesser team, which should add another tick in his box for how good his quality is. So I would be up for him. My only concern is, would he get caught out drifting too far on that left-hand side when potentially we got Callum Hudson-Odoi out there, or Sosa or Jota or whoever, and we need someone in the middle of that box really just to get those goals in. But I would 100% be up for him. What do you guys think of Beer? Let me know in the comments down below. All right. This is the bank breaker one for me. Ivan Toney. Before you lot say, mate, what are you talking about? Hear me out here on the logic, right? Tony's got 1 year left on his contract. Yes, I know we had Foamgate and everything else with him last season, but if you put those annoyances to one side, he still is a quality striker. And he is definitely available for Brentford to sell. Basically, he's bigger than Brentford, and Brentford know they need to sell him. They've brought in a new striker already to replace him, and they were expecting to sell Toney this window to make that money up for the cost there, because they ain't great on PSR themselves. So no one's come in for him. Brentford are worried because he's in his last year of his contract. Obviously, he's not going to sign another one with them. And he is now in his prime for me at 28 years old. Yes, he's a lot older than the other players I've just shown you, but he is Prem proven. He is shithousery proven as well. And on top of that, he can take a free kick. So for me, he ticks two major boxes there. His finishing's brilliant, and obviously his penalties. I mean, we all saw what he did for England, the no-look penalty, etc., and what have you. So there's nothing that you can't really fault him with. Sometimes maybe his passing is a little offbeat, but I would rather have him than Osimhen. And I'm surprised that the likes of Arsenal and Chelsea and whoever else is looking for a striker aren't looking at picking up a Toney over Osimhen. One, it would be a lot cheaper, and I'll come on to his price in a second. But also, you know what you're getting with him. Yes, he's had the whole alleged betting scandal and the ban and everything, but that's done. So he's there and available. Now, price tag wise, he's valued at about £50 million. But Brentford would deal at around £40 million. And as I said, and I think it's been reported on Sky as well, there hasn't been a single offer and not even really many inquiries about Toney this window. So none of the Cartel 6 are after him. No one from Europe has shown any interest. And I think if Forest put a good package together and offered him a good salary, he would 100% take Forest over Brentford. I mean, there's no comparison between the two clubs. And the way I would sweeten this deal, as I said on Grumpy Old Reds yesterday, would be to put a Champions League clause in there. So if Forest offered him a 4-year deal or whatever it would be, and we got him for 40 million, put a release clause of 60, 70 million in there for a Champions League team coming in from next summer. These happen plenty of times. And that would sweeten the deal for him that, okay, if he comes to Forest, he would be motivated. He'd be able to put, good performances in together with that idea of Champions League football ahead of him. Now, the big issue, if we're being realistic about it, it's clear that he's probably happy to run his contract down so that he can go next summer completely for free and get higher wages on the books. So I don't know what he's on now, but he will be able to demand some big bucks, especially if he has another decent scoring season this year. So I'm all up for this Toney one. If Forest could put a deal together, and there's no one else really fishing in this pond right now for him, which in itself is surprising, is it worth a gamble? What do you guys think? would you go for Ivan Toney despite Foamgate? Let me know in the comments down below. So out of those three players, who would you guys go for? Let me know in the comments down below. Look, let me tell you where I am with everything on this right now. These three are priorities for me. I mean, I'll take all three. Oh my God, what a team we would have. But obviously, Toney is the #1 choice. I mean, he's prem proven. He's still in his prime. He can score goals. And as I said, he can get free kicks, man. We haven't got a free kick taker. So he ticks a double box for me. But realistically, looking at the way Forest are doing their recruitment now, Moukoko for me is the one. He's young. I think this is a player whose value could double or triple over the space of a year or two. He's so good. And it's an easy hijack for me. But we have to act quick because things are getting close with Marseille. And it's realistic as well because he's currently in that motion of transferring. So he would actually be my realistic choice. The ideal choice would be Toney, but Moukoko for me just would blow it out of the window, and he would be absolutely perfect for the style and the shape that Forest are recruiting for. Do you agree with me or not? And I'm not saying I wouldn't take Beer either. I'll take any of these three strikers, believe you me. If you've enjoyed the content, please don't forget to hit that like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to Forest Fan TV if you are new. And go download SofaScore. It's completely free. The link's in the comments, or scan the QR code. We'll see you on the next video. And if you didn't watch Grumpy Old Reds yesterday, I'll leave it on the end screen for you as well. Come on, you Reds.